Well, there's a good couple of qualifiers in that title, aren't there? The project comes from the fact that these have minor flaws, and the lucky dip is that they'll basically just pick one out of a box and send it to you. The good thing, though, is that these are now half price. They're 20 quid. 20 quid for a Damascus knife. Let's just revel in that for a minute. And just think, oh, 20 quid. Damascus knife for 20 quid. And if we can get that. It is proper Damascus as well. You could just faintly see that line across there, and then as it fades away, it's been ground. So I have no doubts that this is fake Damascus. This is the real thing. There's a choice of blade shapes. There isn't. There's various different blade shapes, and obviously they will pick one out. Now, I was going to actually just take this as a project and perhaps make that a bit more of a clip point. Unfortunately, I fractured my left knee and sprained my right ankle, and I'm waiting surgery on my knee. So grinding and power tools is going to be, yeah, my knee's a project at the moment. But just look at it. I mean, I wasn't sure when I first picked it. The more I've looked at it, the more I just think, oh my God, I like that. I mean, how colourful. That I think is really, really sweet. All those different colours going on in there. The spacers, and look at that for a pin. And there's a lovely bit of wood there as well. So what's the project aspect of this? Well, it possibly could do with a bit of cleaning up. That's, I have to say, is beyond me at the moment. It's not particularly sharp, but I'll tell you what, it's not too bad. Yeah, alright, could do with a bit of a sharpen. It's a little bit grubby. There's a little bit of rust on there as well. That could do with a bit of a polish. That I think could definitely do with a bit of beeswax. Beeswax and linseed oil mix, that will come up beautifully, wouldn't it? And the biggest part of the project, though, is the sheath. Yeah, it's fine if you're a lefty, but if you're not, you're a bit stuffed. Although I was thinking I could kind of mount it on this knee brace that I've got to wear for the next couple of weeks until I get some surgery. That would look quite good, wouldn't it? Except probably get shot. But yeah, that would fit quite nicely, and would certainly reduce my feeling of vulnerability as I'm walking around the town. So let's have a go, see what we can come up with. That's one side of the blade gone over with a solvol compared to the unsolvoled bit. It's definitely shinier. Definitely bringing up that. It's quite shiny, so it's actually now reflecting everything, which is a bit of a pain. But anyway, that looks much better. I'm going to go over it with a little bit of silver. I would use Brasso, but I haven't got any, and I'm buggered if I'm going to try and hobble up the shops to go and find some. It's the same stuff basically. Go over there, that other side of the blade with the solvol. Let's have a look. That is much, much nicer. You can really see the detail now in that Damascus. Perhaps not quite as much there, but then it's not the best camera. There we go. Exactly the best camera in the world, but that's brought that blade up absolutely beautifully. Let's have a go now at the handle, because there's some nice detail in there waiting to come out. And I'm going to use this mix. I can't remember, yeah I know, but it saves somebody inadvertently putting on some toast at 2 o'clock in the morning, doesn't it? It's a mix of linseed oil, boiled linseed oil, and beeswax. I can't remember exact quantities, but it's fairly easily to find it online. Let's rub some of that on then. After a few coats, so it's got a bit more of a sheen on it. It's also bringing out the detail in that wood absolutely beautifully. Not quite so gorgeous on that side, but again, bringing these colours up, it's obviously going to protect it. Really, really making these colours stand up. And what I hadn't noticed, I honestly hadn't noticed this little blue liner in here. So yeah, definitely chuffed with that. It's going to have possibly a few more coats on it. I don't want it obviously too slippery and shiny, but just to protect that wood. I hadn't noticed that. Oh, right, I hadn't noticed that. that pin is only on one side. Oh, so that's made such a difference, doesn't it? Putting a bit of this wax on it. Anyway, that there, that back in the fridge, and let's get on with a bit of sharpening. I'm going to use one of these Lansky systems, basically because I like it. It's an easy way of getting a decent edge on something. It doesn't take very long. If you haven't seen one of these before, they are really, really handy. I wonder if I can use a traditional, and I would say, yeah, a bit old school, use a traditional stone if you can. What I would say with this, using the stone though, is I'm likely to scratch the blade and I don't want to. So it's basically two rods like that. These are steel, these are porcelain sort of polishing rods, and then just strop, holding the knife vertically, strop down like that. I have to do this when the missus is at work because that noise she absolutely hates. So let's give it a few strops. And literally we're not trying to take too much metal off, it's just a little stropping almost. And then once you've done that, take those out. You get a choice of angles as well, 20 or 25. I've just done 25 because I just want to do consistently if I need to sharpen anything else. Once that's off, and it will put, which isn't going to stuck, a slightly sort of striated edge on there. You can sort of polish that with these. And then hopefully we will have something that is much sharper. Well, fair way to go yet, but you know, that's the fun. We'll carry on with that for a bit longer, and then more paper tests. Why does this always work better when I'm practicing it? There we go. Put a camera on. Anyway, that's a lot sharper than it was. It's not shaving sharp, but how far do you want to go with it? I will be going further with it. Sorry about that. So essentially for 20 quid plus postage, you get a very, very handsome knife. Will need a little bit of work, then project for a reason, but you can get something that is so much nicer. I mean, how much do you think something like that would actually cost if you were to get that mark off? If you were to actually buy one? I don't know. How much would you be happy paying for one of those? 40, 50? You can get one for 20 quid. I think is a bargain, to be honest. Now, obviously, you don't get a choice of handles, of blade sizes. That's the nature of a lucky dip, isn't it? I'm sure we've all seen sellers saying, "Oh, lucky dip, this £5, whatever, £10," and generally been disappointed. I'm certainly seriously not disappointed with this. Rather nice, 7.5, 8-inch overall. We've got roughly 4-inch blade. It's of reasonable thickness. It's just a nice piece of metal. I'm really pleased with this, and I think if you've got a spare 20 quid and you're looking for something nice perhaps to treat yourself with, then definitely one of these. They're small-ish. It's only a 4-inch handle. They are small-ish. Again, if I was able, I would just take that. That's quite a sharp edge there. Not too sharp, but I'll take that. I'll just file that down. Not only am I not physically able, it's actually raining, so the workshop's shut. Typical, isn't it? I've got the next 4 weeks off work, and I bet it's going to rain every bleeding day. So, I mean, if you've got spare 20 quid, I think you'd be rather foolish not to. That is just, it's just revel in that again for a while. It's just a really nice piece of Damascus. Really nice pattern. Yeah, there we go. They're still on the Raven Forge website. They have been on there for a fair while. They are reducing the price gradually. Well, let's see how soon they'll be sold out.